Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of River Rock channel. So today what we're going to do is, in this video, I'm going to give you a little bit of information of Federal Reserve. So this series would be named as Fed Watch. So this would be the very first episode of Fed Watch. So this series of videos would be focusing on explaining and perhaps also putting a little bit of my critiques and my perspectives on central banks movement, especially the Federal Reserve. By understanding what Federal Reserve would act, really give us advantage and edge against the market. As traders, it is very important to understand what the Fed is going to do, and also it is so important to actually project and to rationalize Fed's movement so we be able to create better profit for our portfolio. So here, this article, we focus on Mr. Zoltan Pozsar. He is a key figure of, he is very, very good at anticipating the Federal Reserve movement, and he's also very good at understanding, explaining, and also projecting the repo movement of Federal Reserve. So Zoltan Pozsar is now served as chief economist of Credit Suisse, and he's also a very famous macroeconomist. So in these articles, this is a subscriber-only article from Bloomberg, and Zoltan Pozsar made I would say, quite shocking statement considered to the Fed movement, because basically he thinks that the entire market needs a little bit of volatility. By that mean, when usually you heard like analysts saying the word volatility, that means the market is going down, right? The reason why is quite simple, because if you are working for one of an investment bank and you have hundreds of clients, you have maybe perhaps thousands of clients putting millions of money into your portfolio, and wishing that market will only go up because that's the only way that your institution will get paid somehow, and you'll be able to charge management fee, and you obviously you don't want your clients to withdraw money from the bank. So as an analyst, you'll be saying something like volatility, the word volatility. That means the market will probably go not sideways, but hopefully be very volatile and kinds of going up and down and repeat. So this is a very nicer way of putting market panic, or a phrase of market plummeting. So basically, when you say the analyst by saying the word volatility, then you notice that they are saying the market is having a correction, or say the market is going down, right? And the entire index, for example, S&P is going down. So by that, Zoltan Pozsar, he made this statement because he obviously he thinks that right now Federal Reserve is stuck and struggle to tighten the financial condition. And right now, as we all know, Vladimir Putin and Joe Biden is actually having this conflict on Ukraine issue, and that kind of drives the geopolitical tensions as well. And you have a ongoing inflation that's going to deteriorate the entire economy system, and you have very, I would say, quite a bad employment figure. And also you have an astonishing 7.5% of inflation rate, which is considerably a hyperinflation. And that hyperinflation is going to damage the financial system. And Pozsar, he actually thinks that Fed is the guy who's behind all this. He flooded the system with emergency liquidity during the summer of 2020, because we all know back then when the COVID outbreaks, during the outbreaks, the entire market was plummeting, right? And the S&P was down significantly. And so the Fed has to release enormous amount of liquidity to save the entire market, right? The Fed has to inject all these liquidity, and which is the reason why it further drives up all these financial assets, drives up all these commodity prices, and because the China zero policy, and it actually pushes the inflation to even higher. So with this condition, the Fed is pretty much trapped, and Mr. Powell can do nothing but to bring a little bit of volatility in the market. So Mr. Powell has to be Mr. Volcker. That means Vol as the Volcker. That Vol definitely means volatility. That means the key statement brought by Mr. Pozsar is that he thinks that the entire market will require a little bit of market volatility, or say Powell needs to crush the market, right? As a Federal Reserve Chairman, sometimes it is your duty to stop the party, right? You have to be the evil guy, like the Mr. Paul Volcker. If you don't want to be the evil guy, and then one day the market will stop dancing. You repeat what's happening in 2008, you repeat what's happening in 2000, which is the dot-com bubble, and then you repeat what's happening in 1987. When you attempt to repeat all these kind of tragic events, shit happens. So this is definitely the reason why Powell right now, so far, has not become a very tough Federal Reserve Chairman. His attitude is a bit, kind of speculative, because sometimes he try to comfort the market, sometimes he try to be hawkish as he can, but I think the better way to do it is just to remain silent and to let the market guess what he wants to do, right? That is so much better than brought out all these hawkish statements that we're going to raise interest rate by raising like 50 basis point, and then you all of a sudden when you see the market is reacting very bad, and then you decided I'm not going to raise interest rate by 50 basis point. I'm only going to raise interest rate by 25 basis point. In that case, you're not easing that inflation. You're not lowering that inflation. All right, you're giving a signal to the market, to the financial market, say, hey, we're going to be very gentle and nice, and you guys can just keep purchasing these assets. And then the serious problem behind nowadays economy system is that no one really wants to be the hardworking guy in the room, because hardworking 24 hours doesn't mean that you can be successful. Like sometimes a young dude may be trading Bitcoin and he got like so lucky, he's able to make this enormous wealth like in several days, and that's so much better than stuck yourself in the office working 24 hours, 30 days and 365 days, and then risking your neck for the company, and one day you might be forced to retire or maybe being sacked. So from my perspective, I think Pozsar has a very clear point, and I agree what he said. And I also think that Federal Reserve is the top top institution to be blamed for all of this, right? Of all these financial asset bubble, right? All these all these bad signs for modern economy. You can see what happened after the COVID outbreak. The U.S. government tried so hard by printing money, easing those liquidity, inject the system, giving free money to these people. But on the other hand, these people quit their job. They stopped buying merchandise and goods from the supermarket. They did not go out to spend this money, and otherwise they invest in S&P. They invest in cryptocurrency, right? So there is no solid demand of the economy, and everyone thinks, oh, I can just be, speculate and become wealthy. Why should I, get all these hard work? So thinking back to all these financial bubble created by Federal Reserve, I think all these Fed chairmen has to be blamed because they refuse to be the tough guy who ends the party. Of course, a lot of people will be upset when the market collapses. That means they're losing a lot of money. But this is a necessary step to reset the economy system. Because if you do not reset the economy system, these laborers, they make no money and they have no future. They think they're probably not going to afford any kind of assets, so they would just simply stop working. So that means the entire economy engine will just cease fire. Which one is worse? I mean, having the entire world stuck up with lazy people and speculated dude, or you have your economy reboost and the rich people would pay a little bit would pay the major price, and the poor people would get a chance to work for a solid job again, and then reboosting the entire economy system. So from my standpoint, Pozsar had a point. He actually thinks that right now the Fed is requiring a 50 basis point interest rate raise by March, 17th of March, and hopefully that's going to happen, because as far as I know, this interest rate raising is another opportunity for little guys like us to make good amount of money for our family. So thank you guys for watching these episodes, and I will be keep uploading these Fed Watch on weekly basis. Try to sum up everything that the Fed has been doing, and please, if you like my content, please subscribe and share, and please click that subscribe button for me. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.